What's up, everyone? Welcome into the All 22 NFL show. You got Chris and Ray. We are back again. We are going to be reviewing receivers today. But before we jump into that, go to all-22.com. Go to the App Store, whichever is more convenient for you. Download the app. Sign up for All 22 Fantasy Football, right? This is All 22 Fantasy Football. It's the only fantasy football game with full 53-man rosters where you get to use offensive linemen. You have access to PFF grading to make decisions each week. Again, go to all22.com. But also, like and subscribe to the podcast. If you want to see more players getting reviewed, we need the likes. We need the subscribes. Can't be doing it with just 400 subscribers. We need to hit that 1,000 mark so we can start going deeper and deeper into these drafts. The reason we're going to do this today, the way we're doing it, is because I tried to do that, but Ray was just against me. But we're going to start off today with Travis Hunter, Colorado receiver and corner, but we're going to review the receiver side today. He's 21 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds, spent 2 years at Colorado, 1 at Jackson State, played over 1,200 snaps at receiver alone, did not do the combine, did not do his pro day, which was actually scheduled for today. Grading-wise, 86.3 offensive grade, 89 receiving grade, 89.1 drop grade, which means he was really good, didn't drop the ball a lot. 1,258 yards this past season, 18 touchdowns, then 2,166 yards and 24 career touchdowns, 756 yak, 11.2 ADOT. Ray, let's jump into the film. First play here, I lined up just to show those insane hands, right? We talked about he does not get a lot of drops. This is a great example. Shedeur sets him up to die on this throw. Terrible throw by Shedeur, but quick in route. He goes up and gets the ball, and the guy has a clear shot at Hunter's back, right? And Hunter holds onto that ball, goes up, gets it, brings it in. Great play, great catch by Hunter. You live to play another down, right? Next play here, just wanted to show him getting into space, right? How does he work for his quarterback, right? That is a fantastic opportunity for Shedeur, right? To get padded stats when he really shouldn't have, right? That was kind of a broken play. Travis Hunter found space. He used his wiggle, just continued to kind of buy time for his quarterback, find open space. And again, it was difficult. There's a guy coming down on him, strong hands, holds onto that ball, touchdown. Okay, we have Travis Hunter after the catch. I wanted to show some of what he's able to do with that athleticism. It's a simple screenplay, gets the quick pitch, and then he's off to the races, right? Breaks a first tackle pretty easily. Sniper gets him at the end there, but I think you could just see a little bit of like, hey, this team's going to trust you, and whoever drafts Travis Hunter is going to trust him just to take the ball and be an athlete. Because I do think that there's still some development needed in his route running and his full route tree. So the best way to use him at this point in time is just get this dude the ball and let him run. Here, just an easy way to get a first down, right? If you have that advantage, go take it. All right, let's move on to the next play. And it's another example of finding space in coverage. So go ahead and hit play. We're going to watch Travis Hunter just kind of find that open space between the safety and the corner, right? They're playing zone. He finds like 5 to 10 yards of separation here. I don't know how you let Travis Hunter get that kind of space, right? But he does, and he has the ball. I think one little knock on him that I will say is he's a little overly creative after the catch sometimes, right? He tries to create a little bit too much, and at times it's like, get the 2 extra yards that you could get if you fight forward instead of dancing and potentially losing a couple yards, which he does here, right? Simple knock, not a big deal. Teams will definitely not be worried about that as much as I am. But okay, go ahead and hit play on this one. Wanted to show some 50-50 ball stuff, right? Because one thing that is very underrated about this guy is he's a big catch guy for 185 pounds. And this is a great example of that where he's just faster than you. He's going to beat you there. He has 3 yards of separation. The ball by Shedeur, again, bad throw. It's underthrown. And Travis Hunter has to get up and go get it in coverage, right? The guy's on him. And Travis Hunter just, it's no problem. Wanted to show a quick other angle of it, right? Goes up and mosses him. Great catch by Hunter, right? He can do that stuff too. He's stronger than 185 pounds. Last play I have for him, and I did do 6 on him, I'm sorry, but this one was just too juicy to pass up. And it's just, hey, another 50-50 ball. How do I just get this position on you? How am I just this much more athletic than you that I'm going to be able to adjust my body, get in front of you, and make a play on the ball in the end zone for the catch, right? Another 50-50 ball that he wins, but it goes back to what we said about him as a corner. He plays at double speed. Everybody else is playing full speed. He's playing double speed, and he does that here, gets in front of the corner, catches the ball in a difficult situation. Another touchdown by Travis Hunter. But we have a lot of receivers to review today, so we're going to keep it going. And the receiver we're talking about next is Luther Burden. Luther Burden from Missouri, 21 years old. He's 6 feet tall, 206 pounds, 31 and a quarter inch arms, 8.5 inch hands. Spent 3 years at Missouri, 1,732 career offensive snaps. At the combine, ran a 4.4, 140, 154, 10 yards. So this guy's got speed. Grading wise, 77.9 offensive grade, 80.2 receiving grade, 81.7 drop grade, 1,209 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2023, 676 and 6 in 2024. So a little bit of a step down, which is interesting. 1,400 career yak yards, 9.1 career ADOT. So we're going to jump right into it. Go ahead and hit play. This is a deep throw. I wanted to show some of the body control that Luther Burden offers. Good release off the line of scrimmage, right? But didn't get great separation, right? The corner did a good job staying with him on that play. But what is important is what he did at the catch point. And similar to Travis Hunter, it's how do I reposition my body? How do I adjust and go up and make a strong play? And at the catch point, you can see he creates about 1.5 yards of separation there. The corner is not making a play on this ball. So you did it as the receiver, a great job kind of selling him on, hey, I'm going to keep going deep. And instead he pulls back and makes it a fantastic catch. So I love to see that. You could go on to play 2 here. It's a jet sweep. I wanted to show, right, that this guy is used for a lot of different things. This is one of them, right? He can be that running back Deebo Samuel type, right? That's why a lot of people use that Deebo Samuel comp for him. He doesn't do a lot with the play. This is a different play. You could go back to the last one.
Yep. Yeah. No, Bun got stuck there. Bun got stuck.
Good, all good. So this is why you make the Deebo Samuel comp, because teams will want to do stuff like this because he is a strong guy, right? I said his weight earlier. He's 206 pounds. He's very dense, right? His body is dense. So you can do things like this and trust that you could get 5 yards on a simple jet sweep just to kind of throw a change of pace at the defense. So I like that about his game. Next play here, screen and go, right? Again, how can I get the ball to this guy quickly? Because he's an insane athlete. Just a little quick screen play and go get 5, 6, 7 yards, right? And you can see he's not afraid of just, I'm going to bulldoze 2 guys and get an extra couple yards. It's a knock I had against Hunter. Luther Burden does not have that knock. He will get those hard yards. Let's keep going. Next play, just a quick out and run after the catch. I just wanted to show a little bit of that too, right? Let's get the ball to him quick. But I could also make you miss. I can make you miss too. I could get 5 extra yards. I can make sure I get that first down and fight for those difficult yards. But he's always going forward, right? He's not going back. He's not dancing, right? He's using strategic steps to gain this extra leverage to get across the pylons, and he does that here. I love that play for him. And then just another play. This last play I have is another deep ball. Wanted to show a little bit more of that body control and separation. But like, again, just that back shoulder deep ball with a guy this athletic and this dense is so good and so dangerous. And there are so many times NFL quarterbacks love to do this. So I think it's a realistic thing that is going to translate at the next level. All right, so that's what we got today for Luther Burden. Let's go. I am out of breath. We're going to go to number 3, which is going to be Matthew Golden, and that's going to be you, Ray. But real quick, I'll give the overview. Matthew Golden from Texas, 21 years old, 5'11", 191 pounds, 30 and 5/8 inch arms, 9.5 inch hands. Spent 1 year at Texas, 2 years at Houston previously, 1,795 career snaps at the combine, 4.29 40. Fastest time at the combine, 1.49 10-yard. Grading wise, this past year, 74 offensive grade, 75.6 receiving grade, 74.5 drop grade, 987 and 9 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2024, 1,990 career yards, 22 touchdowns, 762 yak, 11.5 ADOT. Take it away.
I'm so excited to finally be talking about Matthew Golden on this podcast, because for months, since the start of the new year, we've been dropping hints. Pay attention to Matthew Golden. Pay attention to Matthew Golden. You got to remember the name Matthew Golden. We're going to talk about him. And then he blew up at the combine, and I was surprised to see people surprised about his speed and everything else that he showcased here. But we're going to get into it. So again, we give you about 5 plays. That's the rule. That's always broken, to identify, or rather to show examples of trends that we identify in certain players. And for someone like Matthew Golden, I actually wanted to find a game where people weren't talking about it as much when they go back to Matthew Golden and they talk about some of his bigger games throughout the season. I wanted to find a game against high-end competition, but that's a bit under the radar, to see if a lot of the highlights and the good things about this player that are talked about shine through in what's not necessarily top of mind when it comes to people thinking about highlights of Matthew Golden. So we're going to jump into the Clemson tape. And first, I'm going to try to figure out why people were surprised. But beyond that, we're just going to let the tape run. So Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. You see him here, top of the screen, big yellow arrow there. Can't miss it. So right away here, he's going to get inside leverage on the DB. You're going to notice he didn't run this full route at full speed the whole time. So again, just kind of get skinny. Probably could have been a bit more vertical on his release, but what have you. Then leans into the defender here. And there's kind of like this subtle before the break here. There's this subtle lean into the defender and like shift in his elevation, his body posture to make it look like he's going to break down and either run a comeback or some sort of in. And instead he just explodes to the deep post. And then just look at this separation. If he doesn't have to wait for this ball and it's thrown a bit more out in front instead of to the safety, that could be a touchdown. Either way, makes a heck of a catch. But again, right here, once the ball's in the air, then he just turns on the jets, separates completely, and he's thrown into the safety, but still makes the catch through contact. Big play, but could have been a 5-yard touchdown if led a bit more out in front. So again, just going to see it from the other angle. Just look at the separation here. This is a touchdown all day if it's thrown out in front. But again, tracks the ball, brings it in through contact. So you see sort of the deep ball prowess of Matthew Golden. We're going to let this run here. Second play. And here's where he needs a little bit of work. I don't really love his release package off the line of scrimmage here. Kind of gives a bit of a hezzy, doesn't threaten the DB vertically much at all. And just kind of he kind of drifts to the sideline with that step right there off the line. And the DB just easily washes him out. And I would like him to, again, just kind of jab inside out and maybe stay on the hip of that corner and then throw him by for the comeback to get yourself open. As you see here at the top of the route, there's no separation at all. Ball doesn't go there, right? So I'm not interested in the result so much as the process. But this is something you notice where his release package isn't so great. There's still some nuance that could be added to his game. So you see the dynamic-ness of his play, but some of the work that's needed as well. So just wanted to point that out. Third play, again, we're going to see the release package here. Don't love it. Kind of a split release here, and then just go straight into the slant right at the start. Doesn't threaten the DB at all here. I would like him to kind of push vertically, maybe to that outside hip, and then cut back inside. Instead, he just kind of does a quick split and then just runs a ho-hum slant. The DB is not threatened at all, so he's right on his back to break up the play. Not necessarily the strongest of hands to bring that in through contact there. And so again, maybe a better release. The DB is not right on your butt anyway to break up this pass. So again, the little nuances that can make him a more complete receiver kind of on display here. But we're going to go to the fourth play here. And this is what makes Matthew Golden so special and why people love him so much. So we're just going to let it run, and then we're going to walk through this a bit. So draws the pass interference, right? That's great. But let's just watch this a bit closer. So he's running a corner back to the back pylon of the end zone here. The DB obviously has hard outside leverage and is on top of the route right here. So he's pretty much in perfect position to play that sort of route. And instead, right here, now Matthew Golden just turns on the jets, and within 2 steps, now the defender's in a trail. For the entirety of this route, the defender was on his top shoulder here, outside leverage, and Golden just blows right by it. And now the defender's in a trail position. It's kind of in a panic, draws a pass interference play there, free 15 yards. A better throw to the back pylon might have given him a chance for a touchdown. So again, just that speed is so dangerous and changes the posture of a play pretty much instantly. So now we're going to let this run, and there's just not much to say. He's gotten behind you for a deep post. He got behind you again on a deep corner. So now we're panicking. Now he's in the DB's head. So we're just going to grab him. And that's one way to stop him from running by you. We're going to see it from the other angle, I think, here. I mean, he's just got shoulder pad out. I mean, yeah, that's one way to stop Matthew Golden, I guess, when you're scared of deep speed. But he's clearly in the defender's heads here. And then the last play here, I think this is the 6th, so I cheated a little bit, but it's only one angle. Just look at this here. 1, 2, 3 defenders deep. This is what Matthew Golden can do for an offense in the NFL. He's beaten you deep multiple times. He's forced multiple pass interference penalties at this point. So even though his stats aren't great, this is 2nd and 9. It's not like this is some type of 3rd and 17 prevent where they're just trying to not let anyone behind them. This is just how they're playing Matthew Golden because he's forced them to play him that way. So again, look at what this can do for a defense. How much space does this open up? And you have a triangle of 3 deep defenders here on just 1 wide receiver. So that's what's so enticing about Matthew Golden and what he can do for an offense in the NFL. We're going to talk about it when we do the rankings later on in this episode, but just wanted to give you a little bit of a breakdown of Matthew Golden and some of the things that he brings to the table as a prospect. Chris, back to you.
Awesome, man. I'm going to start talking about Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, 22 years old, 6'1", 202 pounds, 31.5-inch arms, 9 5/8-inch hands, 4 years at Ohio State, probably the most tenured receiver of the top of this class, 2,035 snaps, at the combine, ran a 4.48 40, 38-inch vert, grading wise, 79.5 offensive grade, 82.4 receiving grade, 78.4 drop grade, 1,011 yards and 10 touchdowns in 2024, 2,867 career yards and 24 touchdowns, 1,361 career yak and 9.1 ADOT. Let's talk about it, dude. Let's go ahead and hit play. We're just going to show a good in route. I just wanted to show a little bit of how this guy is great at running routes and how he finds space really well. And this is a really good example of it. You can just stop at the maybe the top of the route as he's breaking. So right there. So I love the position he's in right now, right? Quarterback has the underneath. If the quarterback would fake the underneath just a little bit, Egbuka has like 4 yards of space. And if everybody else is going deep, there's a lot of running room there for him. If the quarterback puts this on the mark, it's Will Howard. He's not going to do that. But instead he's going to throw it into triple coverage, but it's a Hall of Fame potential receiver, so it's fine. But okay, let's go to the next one. Just a really nice break on this route. I wanted to show a little bit of that. So go ahead and hit play. So good break, right? Really good drop down in your hips, right? Settle your hips, get low, find the ball. It's not a good ball, but he goes up and gets it, holds on to it, strong hands, comes down with it. Love the play for Egbuka. Just really reliable, right? We're going to see a lot of that. Next play here is another example of finding space. Look at him just say, oh, the middle of the field is wide open. I'm doing a deep route. I'm going to split these safeties, right? That's what my goal is going to be here. I'm going to split these safeties. And again, he beats triple coverage, so 4.48 speed, but that's looking real quick. The ball this time is put on the money, and that's what Egbuka does when the ball is put on the money. It's a touchdown. Huge play against Oregon, who was top 2 teams in college football last year, top 3, top 4. So really, really nice play. Showed it from this angle just to show, right, again, like he's beating triple coverage there. There was 3 guys deep to take care of him, and nobody could do it. So love to see that. Wanted to show this too, right? This is an all-around team player and a guy with, again, over 2,000 career snaps and a 4-year starter. How about being a lead blocker on a run play, right? Goes in, gets his hands, gets his helmet. I could tell he was actually a little bit banged up. He's like, oh, shoot, that kind of hurt. His head's a little shook, but he still did it, right? He went in, bang, right? I'm going to hit this guy. It's a 5-6 yard gain, and you're the lead blocker as a receiver with 2 guys in front of you to still make that happen. Really nice play. Love to see that. Last play I have here shows a little bit of just that he sometimes will get a little bit tangled, right? So if I'm running a deep route and I'm trying to be more than just a decoy, because obviously Will Howard is trying to make this throw, he's trusting that Egbuka is going to get off this and be able to come back as that guy that's the veteran and the good route runner. But sometimes he gets a little bit stuck up in coverage and doesn't always have clean separation, which was a slight concern of mine considering his side and speed. And it showed me one thing we'll talk about a lot more later, that maybe he has a little bit of that flexibility. He's lacking a little bit of that bend that some of the other top receivers that I thought he was going to be more of that mold had, right? So we'll talk about that later, but something to keep an eye on. And Ray, I think I'm going to keep it going. Who did we have next here? 5 is going to be Tre Harris. Okay, Ole Miss's Tre Harris, 23 years old, 6'2", 205 pounds. So one of the bigger receivers in this class, 31 7/8-inch arms, 9 5/8-inch hands. 2 years at Ole Miss, 3 at Louisiana Tech. 2,226 career snaps at receiver at the combine, 4.54, 40 times 156 10-yard, 38.5 vert, and 10.5 broad. So he's plenty athletic at that size. Grading wise, 89.7 offensive grade, 89.4 receiving grade, 70.9 drop grade, 1,030 yards this past season, 7 touchdowns, but 3,545 career yards and 29 touchdowns. That's a lot. 1,417 of that came after the catch, 12.3 average depth of target. So this is a player, honestly, in my review, I'm going to look back at this film. He was one of the first guys I reviewed, and I really liked him. And I almost feel like I pushed him down a little bit. We'll talk about that later. But because I just watched him first. And I'm going to be reminded just now of how good this player is. So go ahead and hit play. This is just going to be a quick screen and run. But an interesting thing of the way they used him, he didn't even move, right? This is a dude that just stayed in place, didn't move. And there was about 5 plays before that where he didn't move and block on run plays. He just stayed in his position. I was like, man, this guy's lazy. And then I kind of realized, oh, this is something that they do to kind of create the screen game. But the after catch ability here from Tre Harris for a guy that big, not bad. Like, not bad at all for a guy that big. I like to see it. And I think the next play we can go ahead and get to, just again, finding space. I love when a receiver is able to find space, and he does this here. Look at that open space in the middle of the field. Great design, right? We know the coaches at Ole Miss just absolutely create space for the receivers and their quarterback. So great job here by the coaches. But I still love it, right? Gets to space, settles, knows to slow down, and then after the catch is riding with a guy on his back for an extra couple yards, falls just short of the end zone, but he's carrying a guy for 7 yards. Like, I can't knock him, right? Like, that's a great play. It's a great effort play, just all around good. And then here, we're going to see him setting up a DB. This is the best aspect of this guy's game. So watch him break down, right? Get right behind the DB and create that separation at the top of the route, right? He's such a deep threat that people have to watch him deep. But what if I just get in your blind spot and then create 5 yards of separation on a comeback, and Jackson Dart can't get him the ball on this one? But still, just phenomenal route. And I had to show it. And I think I show it again, maybe right here, actually, if you want to just go to the next one. So I think this one, we're going to see the same exact thing. So it's not just a faulty play. Hey, I'm going to get behind you. I'm going to make you fall down. And this time Jackson Dart does find him. And again, the after the catch ability is better than I expected for a guy his size. I really liked it, but I really like the way he runs those comeback routes. Just destroys DBs with their blind spots. Really nice job by Tre Harris. And then I did mention, right, he's a deep threat. So the last one here, let's see it, right? I'm going to get off a line full sprint, and I'm going to run right by the safety. And Jackson Dart doesn't hit it. But can't knock the route. That's, again, he's got both the corner and the safety beat. The safety panics, almost falls down, straight panic mode. But again, just a lot of really good things to see with Tre Harris. So a receiver that I definitely liked. Ray, I'm going to hand it back to you. But before I do that, I will call out the next receiver, which is the one and only Tet McMillan from Arizona, 22 years old, 6'4", 219 pounds, 31.5-inch arms, 10-inch hands, spent 3 years at Arizona, 2,292 career snaps at the combine, just did the 40 time 4.4, 840, which is really good for a guy that size. Grading, actually, you know what? I think that was unofficial time. I think he ended up in the 4.5s, but you can confirm that if you can.
Yeah, I think it was 4.52, 4.54, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So grading wise, 84.8 offensive grade, 85.8 receiving grade, 71.5 drop grade, back-to-back seasons with 1,300 yards. He had 26 career touchdowns as well. So phenomenal back-to-back production for Tet McMillan. 1,162 yak yards, career 13.7 ADOT.
All right. Tet McMillan, we're just going to jump right into it. You see him here top of the screen, and I'm going to say thank you for the segue from your breakdown of Tre Harris. So first play here, you're going to notice, okay, off man, inside shade from the DB here, and you talk about nuance and blind spot. That's pretty much what McMillan does on this play here. So again, inside leverage towards the top of the route. McMillan's just going to work to the DB's blind spot. Once he finds himself in that blind spot, he's going to break down, create a ton of separation, and this ball is just thrown to New Mexico, so there's no chance of a completion. But that's a heck of a route by McMillan here. Again, it's not just bullying someone with side. Yeah.
How much bad football did we have to watch this week?
Yeah. Dude,
oh my God.
People think that watching like wide receiver film is like some sort of, glorious, fun thing to do. It's really not, because you're exposed to a lot, and you come to appreciate even like backup quarterbacks. And I mean, people don't understand. All right.
They do not. They do not.
To get through. They
All right,
only see the glory. They don't see the grit. But yeah, I mean, look at this. The separation here at the top of the route, there's 4+ yards of separation here on the comeback, because McMillan did a great job of attacking the leverage subtly and then just working the blind spot of the DB. And yeah, ball's just thrown way too high again to a 6'4" wide receiver with 4 yards of separation and incomplete pass. So you're never going to see this in the stat sheet, so it's probably not going to make any highlight tapes, but that is a phenomenal route by a big-bodied wide receiver, where that's not necessarily the typical archetype for someone of his size. So second play here, again, we got some hard inside leverage, and he's going to kind of do the same thing. And I just want to point something out quickly, like I did with Matthew Golden. So again, ball's not thrown his way, so no stats recorded, but again, hard inside leverage, big body receiver. Remember this. Right there's that little stutter, and then when he finds himself in the blind spot, he's going to get on top of the receiver, and basically now the receiver is in a trail. When you have a big body receiver and the DB is in a trail, you can either throw that to the back pylon or even just kind of just throw it up and let him come back to the football, because that's where he can make a play with those ball skills. So right here, the DB is now in a trail technique right here. He's got him beat. So fine play by the quarterback. You take the over route there that's open. You get 15+ yards. That's fine. But this is a potential touchdown from McMillan, because again, he kind of just lulls the DB to sleep here, subtly attacks the leverage, and then explodes to get him in a trail. You see the DB reaching here because now he is out of phase for a bit, and then the ball just gets dumped off underneath. So he's really working the blind spots and working the leverage and angles here as a big-bodied player, which more nuance than I guess I was expecting to see. Third play, again, now we're just going to see his quick speed release, nothing to it, but going to get downfield, get behind the defender, and now force a pass interference flag. So again, he's not necessarily known for his speed. If it's whether it's 4.48, 4.52, 4.54, whatever it is, speed release, he gets on top of you with those strides. He's faster than he looks. Corner's now in a trail. The safety's hustling over, but the corner is beat. So he panics, grabs that left arm. McMillan obviously can't bring it in with one hand in double coverage there and through some contact, but you see the flag thrown there, free 15 yards for the offense. So that's that downfield threat as well, even if the downfield speed isn't necessarily what it is from some other players in the class. And now we're just going to run this play here, and strong hands, playing big, like as he's playing as big as he is. So again, I kind of like now he's got the split release, a bit tighter coverage, but he's going to attack the inside shoulder of the DB before breaking in just to get him vertically just a tad. Catches that. Look at the strong hands away from his body, grabbing that football there, and then just breaking 2 tackles, another tackle, stiff arming someone for the first down. That's just a big boy play right there. So it's not just the finesse and nuance with McMillan. Obviously, with his size, he's going to bring it. And then here, we're just going to let this play run, and I hope it works. Not sure if it's going to, but we're going to try it out. So, the sound didn't come through in any event, so we're probably going to have to cut that. But
no, that was cool.
Pass.
That was cool.
He can pass. He can pass. Like, this ball was in the air for like 50 yards. And if you look at the ball placement, it's to the sideline. Like, it's to the sideline. And there's a pass interference flag. He forced another interference there. Big chunk play through the air, but as a passer for Tet McMillan. So wanted to have a little fun, show that there. He's probably not going to be asked to do that much in the NFL, but I couldn't not show it. Here we're going to notice, just pay attention to the leverage. Here he is at the bottom of the screen. Again, look at the defender here. Hard outside leverage. The defender is pretty much like his outside foot is on the hash marks, whereas McMillan is lined up at least another 2 yards to the inside. We're just going to speed cut out and just beat that, and then strong hands again, and then it's going to take you and 2 of your buddies to bring me down. So he beats leverage again, just with a quick speed cut. He knows he doesn't have time to mess around and try to shake and sell vertical. He doesn't have that. So quick speed out. I'm going to be quick enough and big enough to shield you from the ball. And then I'm going to play big boy football again. And it's going to take you and your friends to bring me down. So next play here he is in the slot. As a blocker, though, I saw this on more than one occasion here where he just kind of throws the shoulder. Doesn't necessarily ring his own bell like Egbuka did against Oregon, but not much there. Looks like they had the option here to go to the bubble. Noticed this a few times. Not the most prolific blocker despite his size, like you may think. So just something to note for whatever weight you put on that for a wide receiver coming into the NFL. Another play here. By now, Chris, I've just blown by all the rules. So I'm just going to keep the theme going here. Over the middle. Little gator arm. You're the biggest guy on the field. You heard some footsteps here. Like, yes, the quarterback led you out to dry right here. I mean, he's just putting your ribs at risk, but just catch it. Just, you saw how the quickie just brought his arms down and kind of shielded himself from it. You got to go up and catch it at that point. So I get it. It's a blowout. You're losing big. You're losing by 3+ scores and you're about to get popped. But I'd like to see you bring it in, even if you're not going to necessarily put your whole body on the line. I didn't want to put these plays in because we showed them with the Travis Hunter cornerback breakdown, but I'm going to because I think this is what the people want to see, which is McMillan versus Hunter. This is 2023. And yeah, I can't not show that, right? So goal line play. This is just me being an athlete, me just being a phenom. Yeah. Go ahead and make the play. I mean, look, that's Travis Hunter right here. I mean, that's just that could be the Nike logo. I think we might have said that actually in the cornerback breakdown, but just a phenomenal play. You want to talk about separation and contested catch archetypes for wide receivers. I mean, his arms are what, 30 some odd inches? That's almost 3 yards. Consider that 3 yards of separation right there because look at the snag. So there's nothing any defender could do about a play like this. And this is something he's going to bring to the table in the NFL against whoever lines up against him. Last play again, just because it's him versus Travis Hunter here, just using his body to shield a defender and make a nice hands catch over the middle. Very quarterback friendly target, very quarterback friendly play. This is the final angle we're going to see it from. Just again, every quarterback, every offense in the NFL could use something like this. So we're going to talk about it more when we do the rankings, of course, but I had to include those in there for Tet McMillan. So yeah, I went way over the amount of plays, but you also went like way over the amount of players we're supposed to break down today. So
I know. And I was on course, man. We're 32 minutes in. I was on course to like get to that 30-minute mark. And then you just did like a 10-minute segment on what might be the best receiver in this class, but we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about next Kyle Williams from Washington State, who is 22 years old, and he's getting a lot of hype, which is why I included him here. 5'11", 190 pounds, 30 1/8 inch arms, 8 3/4 inch hands, 2 years at Washington State, 3 years at UNLV, 2,880 snaps. That's a lot. Combine, 4.4 40, 155 10-yard, 36.5 vert, and 911 broad. Grading, 79.9 offensive grade, 82.1 receiving grade, 74.3 drop. 1,196 yards and 14 touchdowns this past year. 3,606 career and 29 touchdowns. Holy cow, that's a ton. 1,575 yak, 11 ADOT. So we're going to jump into it. And I wanted to show how quickly he can win with his speed because his speed is his separator. So go ahead and hit play there. But like just really quick off the line, right? We're going to break in front of you. The corner has to stay deep because he knows you're quick. So it's just it's a quick win. And you could get little chunk plays like that all the time. You can see the corner just goes to bail. He turns his hips to bail and Kyle Williams is breaking under him. So it's an easy win. This one here, go ahead and hit play. Should have been a touchdown on this, but I don't think the quarterback throws to him. Just trying to remember. But I liked the break off the line of scrimmage. I liked the way he got separation, and the quarterback should have thrown it deep and doesn't. He throws back shoulder, but when your receiver's 2.5, 3 yards past the corner, just throw it to the end zone and let him go get it. So again, that speed is dangerous, but I also really like the release on that. So 2 good positives on that play. This one here, this next play, just wanted to see him settle and understand space a little bit better. I think that's something, even though he's kind of like a 4-year vet, kind of concerned me, right? It's like, don't run out of the end zone when the play has a designed guy, taking the deep defenders off of you. He could have gotten another 5-6 yards if you would have settled there And obviously the throw leads him that way, but I think it's because his speed was lending for that to happen. So would like to see him kind of develop a little bit more in that regard. It's something I saw. Again, we're showing trends. That was a trend that I saw. Last play here that I only have 4 for him. You're welcome. It's a quick win and run. So go ahead and hit play. He's there at the bottom of the triangle on the outside. So quick win, right? We're just running, we're getting the ball, and we're getting 8 yards. And I think that's what you just kind of have to remember with some of the receivers we're showing today is it's just really easy to get 5 to 10 yards on plays like this when you have a receiver with that kind of speed advantage, which is something that I thought Kyle Williams will definitely offer at the next level. But I think we're finally at the final receiver, Ray, which is, I believe, Jayden Higgins from Iowa State. And we were talking a lot of smack about how we watch a lot of bad football. I will say something. Iowa State, really good football. I watched a lot of really good football with Iowa State. And I like the quarterback who I looked up is only a redshirt sophomore, so I think he's going to be back here, not getting NFL hype at the moment. But again, I saw a lot of NFL throws by this guy and really good decision-making. Just wanted to shout that out. But Iowa State receiver Jayden Higgins, 22 years old. He's 6'4", 214 pounds, 31 1/8 inch arms, 9 1/8 inch hands. 2 years at Iowa State, 2 at Eastern Kentucky, 2,431 snaps. Did not participate in the combine. Grading-wise this past season, 90.3 offensive grade, 90.5 receiving grade, 91.2 drop grade, so elite grading from him. 1,185 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2024, 3,309 career yards and 28 touchdowns, 1,000 yak yards, 13.3 ADOT. So go ahead, Ray.
Did you have an age for him right at the start or no?
22 years old.
22. Okay, got it. So, all right. So Jayden Higgins, we're going to talk about it. I like this game because Kansas has 2 NFL corners likely to be taken in the mid rounds, maybe mid, late day 2, early day 3 type of players. And you obviously have Higgins and Noel on Iowa State. So, I mean, this was a good matchup and a fun game to watch for sure. So I did enjoy this part of the film watch for this breakdown. So we're going to run it here. You see Jayden Higgins, bottom of the screen here, and a few different angles I could take with this play, but we're going to show this here. And I asked you the question for a reason because, okay, 22 years old, you're a vet here. Why are you running into coverage at this point, right? So we're going to watch here. The tight end stick or hitch right here brings down the backer. The backer plasters right here, leaving this void and this window in the defense. The quarterback reads and sees it properly, right? This is a high-low read. The backer came down. They're going to throw it right behind him. But Higgins just keeps drifting towards the defense here and doesn't settle. So the quarterback throws it right where he was. So we're going to see it in this angle here from the end zone angle. So a little bit of pressure. So the quarterback has to step up. But again, you see the defense flowing here. 2 defenders flowing to that side of the field. Just sit down. Sit down right now. There's a window here, and he just runs right past it. Incomplete pass. So
quarterback's good, dude. This quarterback's good.
Yeah, the quarterback was on point on that play. I was impressed. Anyway, just file that away because then on this play, a little more subtly, it's fixed. So I don't know if he said something in the huddle or he already knew his mistake. It didn't happen twice. So right here, he's going to work behind this defender here, this hook curl defender, and he's going to make himself available. Look at that, shoulders square already. Quarterback, again, knows exactly where to go with the ball. The timing is great, so he's available. He's not turning across field here. He's made himself available, showing his quarterback the numbers, catches the pass, and then is going to go ahead and get some yak. Breaks one arm tackle there. And goes ahead and picks up an extra 8 yards.
We talk about like NFL open and NFL throws, and it's like through 2 defender window, right? Anticipating that open spot. Really good throw.
Yeah. No, this quarterback's a bit of a gamer here. So I was impressed. So third play lined up in the slot, and now we start to see some of the concerns and some of the sort of the limitations of someone that you expect from this archetype of receiver. So again, ignore the result of the play, but we're going to watch it because again, a heck of a throw and a great play by Jaylen Noel. So again, two quality wide receivers here for Iowa State. But again, focus your attention the bottom of the screen for Jayden Higgins here. And he kind of does that break. The defender's not threatened vertically at all there. Look at how he's just driving downhill. He's not afraid of Higgins getting behind him deep. So he's going to drive on that in route, and there's just no separation. Got the hand on the hip. He's just absolutely blanketed here, and it's because that lack of deep speed. Corners just, this is NFL corner. They're not threatened by that. So if they're going to drive on your breaks, it's going to be hard to get separation. So just something to keep in mind. Again, play doesn't go there, but you start to see this a bit more at the top of his routes. And this is just another example here. I watched this defender in off man. We're going to run it. And again, the defender wasn't threatened at all. I mean, he's just, as soon as Higgins breaks, he's not worried about a stop and go. There's a lot of steps here for the breakdown here. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to come out of that break. That's some roadrunner status right there. So a defender is going to easily break on that and just plaster before the ball gets there. And that's what happens here for the breakup. I think we have the end zone angle here. Yes, we do. And you're just going to see at the point of contact here, there's no separation when the ball arrives, because again, the defender wasn't threatened vertically at all. So they're sitting on some of this underneath stuff. And that's what makes it very tough. This is the concern that people bring up when they talk about the quote unquote contested catch wide receivers and how they translate in the NFL. It's not necessarily that they can't make contested catches or that defenders are good or better in the NFL when it comes to jump balls. Yes, that's a part of it. But rather at the next level, if you can't threaten someone deep because they're not worried about you separating from them, then they're going to squat. They're going to drive on those moves. And that makes it even harder to get separation. It's just kind of like a snowball that rolls downhill. So
great ball placement.
Great ball placement. I mean, it's a good play by everybody involved. The quarterback makes a great throw. I mean, Higgins stretches out for it, but it's a great play by the DB too. So it ends up incomplete, because there was not that threat that kept the DB sort of at home or at bay before the break on the route. And so this one here, we're going to see it again, that comeback there. He almost hesitates because he knows that he hasn't won this route. Before we get caught up in the result of this play, watch the hesitation and then another sort of pitter patter there at the top of the route, because at this point, the defender's already breaking downhill. Look at the defender's posture here. He's already driving on the route and he hasn't even broken yet. He hasn't even made his cut, and he sees it and knows it. So now he's in trouble. And again, ball's a little bit high. And now this is the result late in the game. They're trying to mount a comeback, and now they have a pick six that pretty much seals it. We're going to see it from the other angle here.
That's a good one to show too, because I feel like it's not even just all the things you said. It's also like, why aren't you driving and fighting and using your size to create at least like a box out on that play? And instead he kind of cowers because he knows he's beat. He kind of like, watch right there, right? At that point, he should be using his muscle to continue to gain it and at least shield the DB. Mm-hmm. Don't let him get across your face, or don't let him get a free angle at the ball. Like, go make a play. And he doesn't do that.
Yeah, be physical, right? I think he went in trying to win the route, because I think it's the start of like a 2-minute drill or 4-minute drill. And it just doesn't work. And that's just a physical limitation based on, athleticism, ability to separate. And again, Kansas has NFL DBs here. This is a pretty good secondary. They're going to make you pay for it. So last one, this is kind of what separates Higgins from someone like Tet from me. Again, we're going to talk more about the broader rankings, but a play like this, big body, back shoulder. Okay, if you're not going to win, kind of with separation on those dig routes and so forth, defenders are going to be able to carry you across the field. I need to see better on plays like this. Then you do have to come down with those kind of back shoulders and jump balls a bit more often. So yes, that's the difference between a first rounder and a day 2-ish player, is the consistency with which they do that. But he could have came up with this pass. Again, a pretty damn good ball by the quarterback. It's a good play by the defender too. His arm is in there. He's playing through the hands. So another piece of good football all around, but because of those limitations, it's an incomplete pass for the offense. And ultimately they do end up losing this game to Kansas, even though it was a pretty darn good game. I had fun watching just from the all-22 angle.
All right, dude, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. We just reviewed the top 8 receivers potentially that we have in this draft class. There was one guy that I had snuck in that went above some of these guys in my rankings that we didn't review, but we'll talk about it. First, let's welcome in audio only listeners. Thank you for tuning in to the All 22 NFL show. Again, you got Chris and Ray. Ray, switch it up. You have the daily show, and we're not doing a daily.
Oh, I got the daily. Whoops. Just
but
keep it going. Don't mind me.
Everybody, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe. Right, hit subscribe to the podcast. Like the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. If not, go rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening. But everybody, thanks for tuning in. Otherwise, we just reviewed the film of the top receivers of the draft class. You could go to YouTube to watch that, but we are now going to talk about the rankings of these players, okay? And Ray, I had mentioned to you that I actually watched 15 guys, even though we just reviewed 8. I watched 15, and I wanted to start the conversation at those bottom tiers. You can throw in some stuff if you want to, but I don't expect you to have ranking for 15 guys. But I had a tier 5
for 4. So yeah.
This freaking guy. All right. Well, tier 5 for me, I had Tez Johnson and Jalen Royals. Tez Johnson out of Oregon, Jalen Royals out of Utah State. Those are guys that, to me, I had questions if they could be NFL receivers or not, right? To me, when I watched the film, these are guys that are on the roster bubble. Tez Johnson definitely struggled with physicality. Also, didn't show speed like I expected him to with his size. So that definitely concerned me. Didn't win catches, didn't win quick either. So I saw that as like, hey, if he makes it in the NFL, he's really got to develop more as a route runner. And I didn't see that, right? Jalen Royals, I saw some good things from him, right? I had him at 14, just above Tez Johnson. I saw some good things, right? He did win routes. He did have some good physicality. I just didn't see any separation. And I also thought at his size, I'm not sure he's going to get the contested catch win rate that he got in college because he was playing against some less than ideal competition, right? It wasn't always against NFL talent. So those are 2 guys I just wanted to mention before I go into my tier 4. Elik Iomaner from Stanford was 13 for me. Xavier Restrepo from Miami was 12. Jack Besh from TCU was 11. And Jalen Noel from Iowa State was 10. Those guys all had kind of a similar thing in my mind, which is they could be good possession receivers, and you want them maybe as your 3rd or 4th option in a receiving game. So I do think they're guys that are going to make rosters and probably see the field. And at their best, they're going to be one of those wide receiver 3s for a team. Good possession guys. I think Iomaner and Besh, I saw slight separation issues, but I liked their size. Restrepo, he's a good route runner, and that's what he kind of like holds his game on. But everything else about his game is, to me, just like not NFL ready. So I struggle to see him really making it unless he's, again, his route running is just that good where he gets on the field that way. So again, maybe a wide receiver 4 on a team for me. And then Jalen Noel, I thought was the best of this group. I had him at 10. And I actually do see him getting on the field as a wide receiver 4 early. Also could be maybe a wide receiver 3 at some point. Good possession receiver. Don't know if you want to talk about any of those players before we get into kind of the bigger group that we discussed.
A couple things. I mean, so Restrepo, everyone's talking about the 40, 4.8, what have you. Allegedly, it was because of a hamstring injury. I don't know whether that's true or if that's just something you say after you run a 4.8 when you're an undersized wide receiver. I certainly didn't have any caveats to my 40 when we last ran it, if you know, you know. But in any event, that's one thing. I think Jalen Noel, we're going to get into it. I think I won't ever say we watched the wrong Iowa State wide receiver, but I'm not sure we watched the best Iowa State wide receiver for this episode. I was a big fan of Jalen Noel, just the kind of guy that you want on your team, even if there's the game-breaking sort of dynamic traits that you typically expect from someone who would be drafted in the top 50 or 40 aren't there. And I'm not saying he will be drafted there. I'm just stating the things that you want to see in his game that aren't necessarily there. That guy's just a winner to me, man. He's just a winner. I was a big fan watching him. If I hadn't already known that you went like way over the quota for this episode, as far as players we were supposed to watch and break down, I might have taken it upon myself to do it. But when I was halfway through of Higgins already, I was like, I'm just going to stick to the plan here. But I'm a big fan of Jalen Noel. I'll also say about Tez Johnson, he looks like someone who's just built for one-on-ones. Like he had a phenomenal Big Ten championship game. And he's like if you're starting, if the NFL does, or the United States of America does the flag football team in like, is it 2030 or whatever it is? Like he might be like a 1st round pick in that league, but he has to really tighten up things for the NFL. in order for his game to translate. And perhaps he may, right? I mean, we talk about that Oregon offense all the time and some of the things that you can kind of get away with playing in that offense that you can't in the pros, but people seem to adapt once they get to the pros. I wouldn't be shocked if he does adapt his game and he is successful because of that, because I've just seen, there's just been too many times where I've seen flaws or absences in people's games and blind spots in their games from that Oregon offense, and they come into the NFL and they just don't skip a beat. It's just because they were being asked to do certain things in that offense where it's, maybe it is a delayed release and they're allowing people to clear out space for him because he is pretty dynamic with the ball in his hands. And so he's doing all this finesse, almost like social media routes before he gets open because he's buying some time. So I could totally see that. But yeah, Jaylen Noel, big fan.
Okay. So you probably have Jaylen Noel over some of the guys we talked about today. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, you'll have to get into that. So I had a tier 3, and it's 2 players in my tier 3. It's Kyle Williams from Washington State, who we did watch the film on. So really quick for audio-only listeners, Kyle Williams from Washington State. Washington State, right? 5'11", 190 pounds, played over 2,800 career snaps, 4.4 at the combine. So really fast receiver, 79.9 offensive grade, 82.1 receiving grade, and over 3,600 career yards, 29 touchdowns. So this is very productive receiver with a lot of experience under his belt. He was a really fun receiver to watch. Very quick, great shift. And I think that there's still unlocked potential, which is interesting considering how much kind of experience he has. But maybe Washington State, not being a powerhouse school, maybe didn't get the coaching to really give him the best of the best that he could have had. So maybe there is more to unlock there. And I think his route running is really where it begins, right? I saw a lot of quick game. I saw a lot of just get this guy the ball, a lot of deep routes. That's it. Not anything else besides that. So it's hard for me to rank a guy higher than that without seeing that full tree. So very raw prospect in terms of route running ability, very raw route tree. So for me, this is where I start to go, okay, if you're at the end of the 3rd round in an NFL draft, an all-22 draft, you're talking about 6th or 7th round, and you want to take a flyer on a guy like this because you think that speed element is going to be dangerous. I get it. Somebody has compared him. I heard Mike Renner compare him to Darnell Mooney, right? So good receiver that got a 2nd contract. That's, a good thing to get if you're, in the 3rd or 4th round of an NFL draft. So solid player, right? So good comparison there. And then the other guy is the other Iowa State receiver that you just reviewed, pulling up his information really quick. But I had Jayden Higgins right in front of him at number 8. So Jayden Higgins, Iowa State, 22 years old, 6'4", 214 pounds, 31 and 1/8 inch arms, 2,400 career snaps, did not participate at the combine, but a 90.3 overall grader with over 3,300 career yards and 28 touchdowns. So this is a guy that, to me, just not afraid to be physical. I thought he was very smooth in and out of his cuts. I know some of the plays you showed didn't show that at that top level, but I really saw it in other games where he does have good route running and good smoothness to his game, especially for somebody being 6'4", 215. Gets good separation without a lot of athleticism in his frame. I thought he had good body control at the catch point, which is what you want for a 6'4" receiver. And I actually liked his release package a bit more than I expected, again, for a guy his size. But I don't think he has any yak ability. I don't think he has great speed, and that's going to be an issue at the next level for a guy his size and the way that he wins. But I would have no problem with a team, taking a chance on this guy at the end of the 2nd round or the early 3rd round. If you're saying, I need a big bodied guy, right? If you're talking about the Chargers at the, the beginning or middle of the 3rd round or, late 2nd round, trading back into the 2nd round or something, and you're telling me that they could pair this guy with Ladd McConkey, you already have a guy that could be your mega possession receiver. Go add a 6'4", 215-pound receiver that you could get at the end of the 2nd round, early 3rd round. And again, in the all-22 draft, that means you're probably getting them in round 4 or 5. But I kind of get taking a chance on a guy like this if that's a huge need for you. So I liked him maybe more than you did.
You definitely did. And to that scenario you just laid out, for that, I'll wait till the end of the 3rd, maybe into the 4th, for someone like Savion Williams out of TCU, 6'4", 220-ish pounds, as a big-bodied player, who I just liked a bit more. But I'll say Jaylen Noel to me, and so in going through my bottom tier here, I had starting from 8 up, and I think it's really now 9 up, but Higgins, Williams, Noel, so in reverse order. So that would be Noel above Williams, Williams above Higgins. So Jalen Noel, Kyle Williams, and then Jayden Higgins. And I think what's interesting to me about specifically Noel versus Williams is I felt like what Kyle Williams kind of lacked on the margins of his game is exactly what Jalen Noel brought to the game. You mentioned the spatial awareness, the ability to really settle and then kind of turn up field to make things just easier for your quarterback and easier on your offense based on the design of the play. I feel like Noel did those little things right, and that's what kind of endears him to coaches and why people like him so much and why I think his stock is on the rise right now. So it's like, yeah, I understand sort of the dynamic traits and what you like about Kyle Williams' game, and I also like about Kyle Williams' game. But those little things just kind of sold me a bit from Noel to have him above him. But same tier, like you kind of mentioned, they're all in that same tier. But I would have Noel above him.
Yeah, I had them all very, very close. So the next guy on the list is the guy that we did not watch the film, and I had him at 7. And I hear a lot of bad press. So I wanted to get the scoop. If you could give me the tea, tell me what is up with Isaiah Bond. Okay, because when I watched this guy's film, there was some of the best route runs I've seen of any of the prospects. There was one post corner against UTEP that, again, was one of the best routes I saw of any prospect. The separation he got on the route was phenomenal. The head fake, all of it was just fantastic. And he didn't even get thrown the ball on the play. But I thought his play speed, people were talking about the bad 40 time. I get it, but his play speed is insane. It's super quick. Good hands. I saw good hands from him. Good flexibility. I like the way that they used him on the offense as well. They played him all over the place. Obviously, he's a little small, but there was so much that I watched and I said, I feel like I'm kind of watching like a knockoff, maybe slightly worse version of like Jalen Waddle.
So Isaiah Bond is a wide receiver in pretty much every sense off the field. So I have something I like to call like wide receiver brain. Apparently he has wide receiver brain, which a lot of great wide receivers do. So that's not something that would typically bug me because they're wide receivers. This is what they do. But apparently that's been a thing throughout the pre-draft process that teams are knocking him for. I wonder how he'll hold up in the NFL. He seems kind of slight to me and kind of gets like bumped around a little bit. And I wonder how he holds up when you take that step up in the NFL. There's been too many guys that run really fast and play really fast, but then when they start getting knocked around like a bumper car in the NFL, it just doesn't translate. And that might be the concern with Bond. And then when you just kind of look across the formation and you see Matthew Golden, who we're going to get into here later on, it's like, well, I want that guy. And I think that plays a part into it too. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Isaiah Bond go off the board day 3 based on some of that stuff. Even if, say, some of the play speed and everything else, you would think he would belong otherwise in day 2.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So like watching the film, I saw a day 2 receiver and it reminded me, and based on what you're saying, reminds me of the receiver the Bengals drafted last year. Trying to remember what his name is. Burton?
Jermaine Burton, yeah.
Jermaine Burton, right? Like won all the routes. I saw a really good receiver on film. And then it's like, oh, but he's a nightmare off the field and people can't stand him. It's like,
allegedly.
Okay.
I mean, this is what we hear. I'm not
right. Okay. All right. Where would you have him in your rankings?
I'd probably have him just above Higgins. I'd probably have him at the bottom of that last tier we just discussed because I have worry and I can find fast guys. I'll find a fast guy.
All right. So now we're getting into the tier. So my number 6 receiver, basically 6 down, are all guys I could see teams selling you should be in the first round conversation. I don't necessarily believe that, but I could understand the argument, right? Number 6 for me is Tre Harris from Ole Miss, 23 years old. So a little bit of an older prospect, but 6'2", 205 pounds, 2,200 snaps in college, 4.54 40 time, grading 89.7 offensive grade, 3,500 career yards and 29 touchdowns. So this is an uber productive receiver, good size, good speed, good athleticism. But when you watch the film, right, the speed is actually a threat for him. It's not just a 40 time. He is a real speed threat. He could take the top off in any situation. But even beyond that, he's a better route runner than I expected and very much more advanced than a lot of the guys that we watched today. Breaks down his hips really well, gets separation, finds blind spots, all things that I want from a receiver that I'm taking a chance on day 2 or maybe day 1, but doesn't have the surest hands, doesn't always give max effort on every play. And while he does run good routes and runs them efficiently and with a lot of nuance, it's not a super diverse route tree, right? Which is concerning, but also something you expect when you see a guy used as kind of that big man deep threat. So I kind of understood it. But to me, it's like, okay, my number 6 prospect, I want him as a day 2 guy. I would have no problem taking him between maybe picks 40 and 60. But also, again, I could see an NFL team going, this is something our team is really missing, and it's the end of day 1, and I want to take a chance on a guy like this. I could totally see that.
Yeah, you just described Alshon Jeffrey, and it's like, okay, we're going to get like the really good Alshon Jeffrey before we got the really bad Alshon Jeffrey, like with one random kind of good season in there late type of deal. Like what do you get there? And that's a concern with some of these Ole Miss guys because of that offense as well. So yeah, you just described Alshon Jeffrey. I have him ranked there too, but when it comes to sort of selecting a player that high, I wouldn't take him quite that high because of the risk at a premium position like wide receiver. I'll let someone else take that chance before, to me, round 3. So top 60 picks, someone else is going to draft him. 60 and onward in the 3rd round, I'm on that all day. But there's just a bit too much risk there in that profile, that archetype for my liking early on. So again, all 22, those first 4 or 5 rounds, I'm probably staying away. But after that, after round pick, 55, 60-ish, then he's right there in the wheelhouse for me.
Okay. So in your rankings, is he at the top of the guys that we've currently talked about?
Yes. Everyone we discussed, he's still the highest name. I feel like I'm missing one name in my notes app here, so I'll recognize it when you say it, and then I'll just slot it in accordingly. But of the names we've talked about so far, yes.
Okay. So I've been talking a lot. Why don't you tell me who you have next on your list?
This is why I think I'm missing one, but Egbuka's the next one on my list, which was 4th on this list.
Okay.
So there might be a name in there that should slot in between these two, but that's what I have right now. So 4th overall in this wide receiver class for me is Emeka Egbuka. And it's pretty much how you broke him down. I mean, he does so many little things right, catches with his hands. He finds the space. He can run by coverage, and he'll take exactly what the defense gives him and some more. He's just a solid player who does so much right, but he is missing that little bit of, I don't know if it's twitch or fluidity or what, but just that little bit that kind of explains why he was never the top dog at Ohio State. Yes, it was Marvin Harrison Jr. there, and there was now Jeremiah Smith, but that little bit of just dynamic, it seems like twitch or fluidity to me, I think is just missing, which is perfectly fine. He could be the best quote unquote wide receiver 2 in the NFL because he's very good at everything. It's just sometimes he can't shake off some tight coverage, and that can get him into some trouble. So that puts him down at 4 for me, but a heck of a player, and he makes any team better.
So you definitely are missing somebody because I have him next as well, but I have him at 5. So that means I have 4 guys above him, and you must be missing one of those guys because there's a bunch of good ones, right? Exactly. But I was surprised, honestly, because when I went into this exercise and what I had seen kind of in watching college film, I really liked Egbuka for 2-3 years now, and I expected to have him closer to the top of the list, but having him at 5, a lot of the reasons you said, right? I think positives, really quick winner, reliable hands, finds space super well, super mature in that regard, sharp routes. He's a good route runner, runs sharp routes. Obviously, the experience is phenomenal. He's seen as a leader on that team. But when you're talking about what is he actually going to be at the next level, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. And I know I drafted him in one of our dynasty leagues, and it was a complete flop. But it was a guy that I really liked.
I mean, don't say N'Keal Harry.
No. I got him in the second round of one of our drafts. It'll come to me. Anyway, it was more of a guy in like the Terry McLaurin mold. Maybe an Ohio State guy. I'm trying to remember. No, TCU guy?
Josh Doxson?
No. All right. Anyway, we're going to move past it. Yeah. But there was something about that guy's game, right? Where I said, this guy looks like he has everything, but he doesn't have the bend. But because he's so mature and he runs good routes, I'm going to trust it that at the next level, he's going to be able to use all of that to become a high-end receiver. But because he didn't have the bend, he never really met that at all, right? And I think now he's kind of fluttered around the league. But to me, it's like, I think he's better than that. I think he'll definitely be better than that. But will he ever get to that level of, hey, I want him to be like a legit number one receiver for my team, like I kind of thought he would be? No. So to me, it's like, okay, I'm drafting him to be a number two receiver, and what I think that value is, I do think that a team will take him at the end of the first round. I don't know if his talent is first round talent. I kind of had him as like, again, I'd feel much more comfortable taking a receiver like this at the beginning of the second round, knowing that he has the experience and the leadership ability puts him there. And if he didn't have that, I might say it's even further back.
He's just got an incredibly high floor, I still think. He's going to make a GM feel very safe in a draft class where there's not a lot of prospects without question marks. So he's going to go pretty high. And he might grade very well, even if he's not a dynamo in the NFL, which for all 22 purposes is what a user is looking for because of all those little things. So yeah, I think the word is safe. He's just a very safe player, I think. Whether he's more than that, we'll see, but I think he's safe. And I think you won't regret drafting him. It's a single. You're going to hit a single at least. You're going to get on base.
Yes, and it is.
Please don't tell me you're still looking for that TCU wide receiver.
Yeah, it's going to drive me absolutely insane. And I mean, I guess another example, a little bit, I think the experience level is different, but Paris Campbell's probably similar in my mind as like a guy that was like, oh, I think he's going to be really good. And like,
you did?
Yeah, I did. I liked Paris Campbell. Not like to this level, not as much as I like Egbuka, but it's still like those concerns. Dude, who are the bus I drafted like 4 years in a row? You said Harry, Ruggs was one of them.
Oh, you said there was the Baylor kid, the big Baylor kid who went to the Jets. You didn't like him, but I think you took him anyway or something. It was one of those deals. This is not great podcasting.
Denzel Mims was not my guy. I did not like Denzel Mims. I was very against Denzel Mims. But okay, you're right. It's terrible podcasting. Let's move on. My number 4, you're going to disagree with, but I have Matthew Golden at number 4.
Oh my gosh.
So Matthew Golden, and honestly, I think him and Egbuka are the same tier. I actually had them both in the same tier as like that next tier besides the guys that I have above. And I think they could be switched. There's a chance that I'll watch them again and switch them and have Egbuka above Golden. But those two guys in my mind are in the same tier. 21 years old, out of Texas, 5'11", 191 pounds, 1,795 career snaps, 74 offensive grade, had 1,990 career yards and 22 touchdowns. Don't get me wrong. I liked him. Really nice receiver with body control. He's actually a good route runner, even though he doesn't run the full route tree. He's good at what he does. He's fun to watch. Really nice hands and big catchability is all there. Like you said, he's so fast that he takes the top off and gets PI all the time. Teams are going to love that. So two things that really concerned me, or I guess three, and this is a kind of a big part of the conversation. The guys I had above him are all guys that I said, there's something elite about their game that I think is actually like they're difference makers at the next level. But when I watch Golden's film, speed is really the only thing that like made him truly different. I didn't think anything else in his game was like, wow, that's going to be so special at the next level. So it held me back from including him in that tier of like, these are the top dogs, right? It's good. It's good, right? It's a guy that I think pick 20 to 40 teams are going to eat up, but like, it's not a guy that I would say have any comfort in a team early drafting, because again, I just don't think the experience is there. The route tree is not there where you're just so comfortable taking them. There's too much risk. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to end up being, I've heard Stephon Diggs, right? He's got that kind of mold to him. Doesn't mean he's not going to become that, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think Diggs was picked really late too. So it's not something I could just bet on. It's wide receiver brain. Okay. So, but tell me where you have Golden and why you like him so much.
All right. I got Golden at 2. And so you mentioned Stephon Diggs. I see more of, and I feel like this name would hold more weight wow, that's the name I was missing from my list. Thank you very much. I have him at 3. I have Matthew Golden at 3. And the name that sticks out to me with Matthew Golden when I watch was Will Fuller. I think Will Fuller kind of climbed the ladder a bit better than him, but if Will Fuller could stay healthy, me comparing to someone to Will Fuller would mean a lot. And I think he could have that type of impact where it seemed like every game he had at least one really explosive big play that could have changed the outcome of that game, or at least really changed the complexion of the entire game. That's Matthew Golden pretty much every single week. I could see him doing that at least once. And he has that's not something that he just runs a deep route and then just kind of runs back to the sideline and he's that one dimensional. It's just more so it's his home run. That's his specialty. That's his secret weapon, but it's not all he does. He has pretty good hands. Yes, I showed the drop in traffic there, and that was more so a result of the nuance that he needs to develop in his game to make things easier for him in traffic, as opposed to just not having good hands per se. But he's got the speed. He's got the quickness. He goes up and gets the ball when he has to go up and get the ball. And he has the ability to change speeds in his routes, which to me is the only thing I could come up with why people were shocked that he ran so damn fast at the combine, is because they weren't picking up that this guy was changing speeds in the middle of his route and not just going full bore. It's the only thing I could think of. But that's a nice tool to have in your tool belt. Just changing speeds, giving different looks, lulling them to sleep, leaning into defenders before making your breaks and cuts to just create that little bit of more separation. He has all that. Really, the nuance he lacks to me is just right at the start of a play in press. Once you give him the ability to get going, you're toast, because he knows what to do with it. It's not just him running straight and running past you. It's everything else in between to set you up to get flat-footed and then have him run by you. So to me, he's near complete as a receiver, not in the sense of he doesn't have much room to grow, but in the sense of there's a lot of aspects to his game that translate pretty well. And I think if there was, and you could say it was as a result of the injury or what have you, he had some better quarterback play throughout the year, I think that would be a much easier sentence to stomach than it is right now sitting here today.
Totally. And it's funny because that's what I was talking about as well, is like watching Texas play, and the bad quarterback play from Quinn Ewers sometimes was very frustrating, right? Because these receivers are really good and he just missed a lot and made bad decisions. But I hear everything you're saying, and I just worry, like you mentioned Will Fuller, and I think he's a better route runner than Will Fuller is. So I don't think that's a great comp, but I get what you're saying. And it's and it's like, that's my concern. Like, what if he is Will Fuller? What if that is what he ends, like he doesn't develop as a full route runner like Stephon Diggs did, right? What if he just becomes that Will Fuller type? I think that's why I still have him a bit lower than you. But the guy that you forgot, I'm assuming, and the guy I have at number 3, I'm going to get torn apart for, but I have Travis Hunter at number 3 on this list.
Whew.
I have Travis Hunter at number 3 on this list. And it's wild, right? So you all know who Travis Hunter is. I feel like I don't even need to say this, but I'm going to anyway. 21-year-old out of Colorado, 6'1", 185, 1,292 career offensive snaps at receiver, 86.3 offensive grade, 2,166 career yards to 24 touchdowns. Okay, I understand this is the most athletic freak that we've probably ever seen. He plays both defense and offense, corner, receiver. He's our number one, both of our number one corner in this class. So me saying he's the number 3 receiver is not a knock on him. I understand how good he is. I just the biggest thing is I ultimately think he's going to play corner, and it's honestly not a conversation that we have about him at receiver. But again, probably the best hands at a cornerback that we've ever seen. So at receiver, his hands are insane. They're still insane. They look incredible. He plucks balls out of the air. He has a monster catch radius, and he's a monster at the catch point, right? Can go up and get it, gets hit, gets bodied. I still worry about the injury stuff. I really, really do. I think he's a little small, and he gets hit a lot, and he opens himself up to some brutal, brutal shots. And if he ends up playing receiver, that's my biggest concern with him. He wins so many 50-50 balls. I think he's got great wiggle. I talked about it, right? A lot of these receivers are lacking that little bit of wiggle, that little bit of bend. He's got all of that, which is what the best receivers in the NFL have, right? He has those things. I think he also does a really nice job of finding space but he's also very, very raw as a receiver because it wasn't his focus. So that is why I have him at 3. I think if he was only a receiver and we just got to see Travis Hunter play receiver, he would easily be the number 1 receiver in this class. But because he didn't, there's not a lot of nuance, right? He's just being an athletic freak. He's just super athletic and outrunning and out juking people. He has all of that to his game. But he's so raw. He's so raw, and those hits that he takes are big. It's going to take time, right? And what if he just is too small and takes too many big hits and he doesn't last at that position? Those are real concerns that I have. Did you have him in your rankings? Is he not the guy that you forgot?
Yeah, no, he's number 1. The guy I forgot was Golden. I was looking for him in the list. I was like, I know I have Golden like really high. Where the hell is Golden? So that I had to add him to the list. No,
okay,
Travis
so
Hunter's 1 for me.
Okay,
and
tell me why.
The only concern I have is that he doesn't run routes. But that's because he was like moonlighting at the position. Like it's he can learn to run. If he focuses on wide receiver, then fine. He will learn to run routes. I think he's shown as a football player, he's fully capable. He can pick up the game because when you break him down, he has the feel for space. He has the feel for when to go up and get the ball. He has a feel for body positioning. He has a feel for everything football related. He has that innate sense, that football IQ, those instincts. He has all of that. The only thing is he's not a route runner because he's busy locking down the wide receivers on the practice field before kind of turning around and getting like maybe 6 reps the entire practice with the first team on offense because he's busy doing the same thing on defense. So to me, that's the only thing is if he were to hone in on this stuff, he's number 1.
Yes.
He's number 1.
Yes, I agree. I agree with everything you said. No, because I don't think he plays receiver. And I don't think it's what's best for him. And I want him to play corner.
So you said something, by the way, we might not get this out the day we recorded just based on timing. Today, it was said he ran routes at the Colorado Pro Day, just FYI.
Oh, he did.
Something that came out earlier today. He was running
because he's a great teammate, too. He's a phenomenal teammate and was there for Shedeur.
Gas him up now.
Because I do. I love this kid. I love this kid. I just don't want him to play receiver. I want him to play corner because I think we have the potential to see, besides maybe Dion, the best corner of all time. Like we're watching that prospect unleash himself, and I want to see that. But as a receiver, I see a guy that could be one of the top receivers in the NFL today, but also could get injured playing receiver because he's kind of slight. And also, like, if he goes to the Giants or Browns to play receiver, it's like, who's throwing him the football? And that's frustrating. So that's where I am.
He won't be so slight if he's not playing 100 snaps a game. He's not burning like thousands of calories every day, playing both ways on the practice field and playing both ways on Sunday. So
we'll see, dude. We'll see, dude.
Yeah, I think it's natural. He's going to grow up. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. I don't even know what number we're on now. So I have Hunter as 1. You had him at 3.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
So you need to give me your 3.
Golden was my 3. So do I give you my 2?
Well, who's your 4?
My 4. Yes. Luther Burden was 4 for me.
Bingo, bango. That's who you missed.
Some of the same. No, he's written down here. It's just I had him at 3 because I didn't have Golden written down as 3. So I had to look and be like, why is Burden so high? So Burden, I think some of those concerns about, I'm not sure he's a fantastic route runner. Like he's athletic. He has good yak. He has good body control. He makes plays. I watched an athlete playing football, which to me, it's like, okay, but you are a full-time wide receiver. So why are you just an athlete playing football? Is it the offense? Kind of is. I feel like they just asked him to be an athlete playing football. So that could be part of it. But now I got to see if you can actually do it full-time and do all the little things, right, that you're going to have to do in the NFL in order to be successful down after down after down. I think that's part of why he has, quote unquote, slipped as we sit here in early April in the draft as well. Whereas previously at the very start of this thing, people were thinking about him as like a top 12 type of selection, where now it's like late 1, maybe early 2. I'm thinking still late 1 for Burden. But I think that's why there's just some questions he has to answer. But when it comes to the movement and the ability to track the ball in the hand, he's got all that. He checks those boxes. It's just, can he go about this the right way, play after play, to get himself open?
Yes, he can. I have Luther Burden at number 2, and I really was surprised at how much I liked his film, because this is not a receiver I typically like. Not at all, right? Because the the Debo style receivers for me are not receivers I typically go after. I don't think this is a great class, right? Like I think in terms of like all 22 era, if I kind of went through my rankings of guys, right? Like I think I would have Travis Hunter obviously in there. I think I'd have Luther Burden in there, and then I'd have our number one guy we'll talk about. But like, I don't think I have any of them top 5 or 6. Maybe I start talking about them 7 to 10. And that's, again, because I just didn't see Travis Hunter as a full-time receiver, and maybe that changes if we did. But Luther Burden, to me, in this class, is a special receiver, right? We're talking about a guy that's over 6 feet tall, over 200 pounds, but runs a 4.4, super fast, but he actually might be quicker than fast, right? He actually might have more agility than just straight line speed. So that is special size and movement talent put together, right? I think he can be a major decoy in an offense, right? Just like Debo was. I think you can use this guy. And again, if you just design 3 to 5 plays a game where you're giving him the ball quickly, he has 50 yards off the bat just like that, because he's going to get 5 to 10 yards every single time. And that's not even considering the 3 plays a game where you're trying to get him to take the top off and you're going to throw him a deep ball, right? And then what if you can unlock some route running with him? What if you can teach him to run some of the route tree? I think he has the ability to do it, right? And we're talking about a guy that I actually went back and watched some of his 2023 tape, because this is a guy that had 1,200 yards as a true sophomore at like 19 years old. And that's special, right? When you talk about guys that break out early and break out as 19-year-olds with huge seasons, they typically do really well in the NFL. So a lot of things to like. Can be a burner, can just be a speed guy if you really just need him to be that. But I thought his skills after the catch as well were phenomenal, right? Some of the best that we've seen. And don't get it mistaken. Like, who's the guy a few years ago that the Panthers had that was kind of in that same mold and everybody loved him?
I hate when you put me on the spot. Yeah. Big dude. He's bigger though. He was bigger. Yeah, bigger. Dreads bigger. PFF compared him to Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Everyone was like, what the heck?
Burden is so much better than that dude. Like as a receiver, he is so much better. And I also thought like, this is a guy that's going to be really hard to bring down, really strong, right? But negatives, you said it, right? Is he just a decoy? Will he ever develop the route tree? Can he be more than just deep balls and screens and quick game? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to take a chance on this guy. In this draft class, I think this is a top 20 pick. In most draft classes, I'd say he's the end of the first round type of guy that you can get and just feel comfortable that like, hey, I just got a really awesome receiver. But again, I was saying the top 3 for me of Hunter, Burden, and our number 1 all have some game-changing aspect, difference-making aspect, and Burden has that to me. So that makes him special and has him at number 2.
Laviska Shenault is the name we were thinking of.
Laviska Shenault, thank you.
Yeah. So it sounds like we have the same. Well, no, we don't have the same number 1 because I have Hunter at number 1. So you're 1, my 2. If I consider Hunter a corner, which primarily I do believe he's a corner, but just for the purpose of this exercise, I'm looking at him as a receiver. So that's why I have Hunter at 1. But my 2, year 1, Tet McMillan. I mean, I don't understand why he's slipped seemingly in this process where he went from possibly being the Patriots pick at number 4 to now it's like the highest he might go is the Cowboys at 12. And I'm sitting here scratching my head because I can't figure it out. I just can't figure it out because he's big. He plays fast. He has good hands. He's yak guy, like as a big receiver. I have no idea why people are knocking him. He doesn't seem to have character concerns. Okay, it doesn't make a difference to me what his 40 is. I put on the tape and he's running past people downfield while also being able to go up and get the football. So he's a true downfield threat, even if he's not a speedster, while giving you all the benefits of a big receiver in the short and intermediate game and winning better than other big receivers in comparison. Yeah, there's a clear difference when you watch him versus someone like Higgins versus Savion Williams and other big-bodied receivers. Ted is just different. Is he Mike Evans? Probably not. That's probably a bit too optimistic. But he's not Dorial Green Beckham or insert whichever the big Mike Williams, not the one from USC, but like the other one might have played for the Bucks or something. Like no, he's way better than that. I don't understand it. He's a damn good football player. I don't understand how he's not in this class in particular, a clear top 10 pick. I don't get it. And maybe he ends up in the top 10, but the fact that he's not consensus, I don't understand it.
Yeah. So Tet McMillan out of Arizona, Tetairoa McMillan, 22 years old, 6'4", 219 pounds, 2,200 career snaps over that actually. The combine race said it ran in the low 4.5s, we believe. I have 4.48 written down.
Pro day, but yes, so that's why the times are different. Yeah, he didn't run the combine. But
okay. So grading wise, 84.8 offensive grade, over 1,300 yards in back-to-back season with 26 career touchdowns. So we're talking about a uber productive player, right? Uber productive. Really good at finding space, will always continue his routes, right? Quarterback's best friend. When the play breaks down, he's still running and trying to get open. Very sure-handed. His size is obviously a huge plus. The catch radius is insane. You showed the Travis Hunter catch, right? Like where he puts his hand up and gets the ball. Like that's an insane advantage to have as a receiver in the NFL. And I honestly thought, like your point, right? When I watched the film, the speed is good. Like the speed is legitimately good. It is much better than what I had expected for a guy his size. I do think that there are a couple knocks on him that we didn't talk about. I think he struggles a bit against stronger, more aggressive corners, which at the NFL he will face more of. And I don't think he's always perfect at breaking free of hands when people are trying to press him. So things to watch, right? At the NFL level, that'll happen a lot more. Guys are a lot stronger, a lot bigger. Is it a concern? Yes. Is it a concern that takes him out of the top 10 for me? Absolutely not. I think you're 100% right. If I'm the Patriots at 4 with this offensive line class, my pick is Tet McMillan, right? And I think that's what I would do. I'm not saying that's what they would do. I don't think it is. I think they're going to go offensive line. But it's like when I talk again about the All-22 era and I talk about the guys that we've reviewed, unfortunately, I don't think Drake London or Michael Pittman were in there. I think they were just before. But I would have Tet McMillan over both of those guys in terms of like those bigger bodied possession type receivers. I think Tet McMillan is better than both of them. And in terms of All-22 era, I don't think he's a Marvin Harrison or a Jamar Chase or a Malik Neighbors. I don't think he's that type of prospect. I don't think he's even Devonta Smith or Jerry Jeudy. Probably not even CeeDee Lamb. But that is kind of that elite tier. And then right after that is where it starts to get a little bit murky, right? Where we have guys like Jordan Addison, Rome Odunze, Jalen Waddle. And I just remembered the name of the other guy that I was trying to remember before, Justin Jefferson, right? So like I had Justin
Jefferson wasn't the name.
No. But as a prospect, I did have him a little bit lower because obviously the NFL did too. He wasn't picked until the 20s. But like I would have Tet McMillan as a pure prospect above all of those guys, right? So like right after that CeeDee Lamb tier, right before the Jordan Addisons of the world, I have a Tet McMillan, and I think you're really happy about getting what will be a very, very reliable receiver that can do a lot, right? And the name of the guy is Jalen Reagor.
Oh my gosh. I was hoping that wouldn't be the name. Like I didn't even bring him up because like that can't be the name. You drafted Jalen Reagor?
I did.
Oh my gosh. You deserve laughter.
Because it was right after that Terry McLaurin just took off, and I was like, oh, Terry McLaurin's awesome. And he wasn't bendy. And then it's like, oh, not everybody built like that is going to play like that.
Yeah, it's going to take someone like shorter than that, but also not bendy and think that's going to work.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Oh gosh.
But Jalen Reagor is my Emeka Egbuka fear, which I think Egbuka is a lot better, but it is my fear.
He's a lot better. I feel so much better that that's the name you threw out because it's so out there that I don't have a concern that he would be anywhere close to that bad.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So that's good news.
So where are you picking Tet McMillan in an All-22 draft?
I'll take him mid to late first. I mean, he doesn't get the elite tag, but of those that don't, I'm not sure there's many above him. Mason Graham. I mean, depending on need, I'll take a Kenny Grant first because I love Kenny Grant. I'm a big fan of that. But outside of that, once you get past the obvious Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham, who again, if it doesn't have the elite tag, Mason Graham, I mean, who?
And the quarterbacks. Yep.
Yeah, quarterbacks if it's a need, right? I'm assuming I don't need a quarterback because I'm probably picking one or two at that point, and I'm not obviously going to take Tet at that point. So if I don't need a quarterback and the no-brainer position players, them being Carter and Hunter, are gone, it's just a matter of, Mason Graham, I probably put above him. Maybe Kenny Grant. Who the hell am I missing? Not one of these other edge guys. I wouldn't put any of the edges above him. Maybe, I mean, Tyler Warren's more of a sure thing, but once you get into positional value,
That's where I was going to
Probably
go.
going with the receiver.
So that's where I was going to go. I think there's two other players that I consider, but the positional value is what separates, right? Tet McMillan being a receiver and being as good as he is with the positional value really makes it hard not to pick him. But I think Tyler Warren, for as good as I think he is going to be, probably my number one tight end of the All-22 era, just putting that out there. It's tough, right? Do I want the really special talent? And the other guy I was going to say is Jahad Campbell. I also have an elite tag on, who I think is a really high-end player. But again, it's like the positional value and also the kind of like the banged up and the hit and miss of linebacker and how long it takes him to develop. It's like Tet McMillan, I know is going to be a good thing. So I'm probably also going Tet McMillan over those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, really looking forward to our big board episode, by the way.
Yeah.
We're almost there. 2 weeks away.
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait. But no, Ted is being slept on, and I can't figure out why. I can't.
All right. Well, hopefully the people at home appreciated the review we did today. An hour and a half. That was a really good one, though. I feel like we got a lot in there. But everybody, just thank you so much for tuning in. Again, go to the App Store, download the app today. Go play All-22. It's the most fun game. You're thinking like a GM. You're doing what Ray and I are doing on the show, and you're applying it to your own team, just like the NFL does. Super fun to do. So go to the App Store, go to all-22.com, however you want to play. But also like and subscribe, right? Wherever you're watching or listening to your podcast, like and subscribe. It helps us. It helps us make more of these videos. We hope you can do that. And have a great rest of your day.
I'm a ghost.